My favourite, well, it is hard to choose, but if you ask me to choose one, I think I'd choose Courtney. This is my favourite. Courtney is a dog. It does help. It reminds me a little bit of my dog with his bushy eyebrows and his beard. But Courtney is a dog who the children want a pet. And they want a dog, which I think a lot of children will relate to because so many children want their own pet. And if they're lucky enough to get one, a dog is usually quite a favourite. And this, very quickly in the beginning, they ask the parents, who are at first reluctant, but very quickly give in and say yes. But then the children get to go and choose the dog. The parents aren't involved. The only thing the parents ask is that they choose a pedigree. But of course they don't. They go to a dog's home and they want the dog that nobody else wants, that nobody will pick, which is a very sweet thing. And they come back with Courtney, who's quite huge and isn't a pedigree. Again, any child listening or reading the story will have empathy with the children, will be happy for the children. The parents are portrayed as quite grumpy figures because they disapprove because he's a mongrel. Anyway, it turns out that Courtney is a bit of a Nanny McPhee figure for the children, in that he goes and he fetches his trunk and he turns out to be this amazing dog that can cook, clean, hoover, garden, entertain the baby, and then spend lots of time with the family, and eventually being a complete hero. And he goes and saves the baby from the burning house and saves the baby's life. And then we get to the point in the story where there's a very contented scene where the children are happy, the parents, and they're all there together, happy. And then disaster. Courtney leaves, he disappears, and the children are sad. And we don't get any answers as to why Courtney has gone or left, and they look for him. But really quickly, the parents, their reaction is, we told you the dog was no good. If they are not thoroughbreds, you cannot rely on them. So the parents immediately switch back to being the mean characters. And then they go on a summer holiday and the children are out in a boat, the three young children off in a little dinghy. The rope breaks and they're going out to sea. And then all of a sudden something which isn't named cuts the rope and drags them back into shore and saves their lives. And a lovely scene where they're greeted when they're having a love with their parents. But when I read this to my class, when I went over, it ends with them saying, we don't know what the something was. What could it have been? And my children looking at me with like, little wide eyes going, oh, it's Courtney, it must be Courtney. But if you look really closely, he did draw a tiny little Courtney up on the hill looking back down. So there's so many factors in that story that I love that I have to choose it as my favourite.